Hi guys, welcome back again. This is the third video in the series. Continuing straight on from where I left the second video. I have finished, well, if you can call this finished, you can't. Just pretend that this drawing here is done. Okay, and you have a completely nice line drawing. When you unsee the sketch underneath and the template, you will have something along this line. Now this is, the cold hard truth moment, because you will see lots of things that have been camouflaged by those layers underneath. There's no hiding now. You'll see all the mistake, all the line qualities that might irk you, that you might want to fix, and this might be something that you probably will want to do, especially if you're reaching for that HD. Okay. So most of your fixing time will happen now. As you can see, that hand is quite atrocious without the help of the lines, and it's actually too big. When you look at that, it's a bit too humongous. So to fix that, I will show you one other trick. Keep that there. I know that you have shown you how to box select by pressing that, and we can simply do this, for example, and then just simply Control T to adjust the drawing. But see what happens. Let's see if I do this. See what happens. I have taken a little bit of the leg with me, which is not really what we want. So to make sure that we are not too constrained when it comes to selecting, by the way, if you want to cancel this selection, you can go select, deselect here, so it will be gone. There is a simpler, not really simpler, but a more intuitive tool to use, which is the polygonal lasso tool, which is under the box select. Go here and go polygonal. What it does is you can freely, and I'm just pressing, so I'm clicking, and meeting at the end. I can simply select even minute details and then Control T. So now I don't have to worry that part of his pants are coming away with the hand. Yeah. Oh, you can also use your arrow tool if you want a more precise placement. And once you're done, press enter and Control D again, or select deselect to undo it. Okay, so you need me to explain that again. I'm gonna make his head smaller, the top of his head. So I'm gonna choose the polygonal lasso tool, and I'm gonna click around this area and Control T, and I'll be pressing Shift as normal. And I can even make it bigger, like that, and flatten it out, right out like that, to make him look a bit crazy or get high. See, so you can still save your pictures if you think, oh, the proportion's off. There's still a way to fix it. Now, once you're happy, press enter. You must press enter to get rid of this box. And select, deselect. And there you have it. Okay, so enough about that. Let's get on to coloring. I will get rid of the lines underneath and that as well to avoid distraction, I guess. Some people leave it on. Doesn't matter, do what's best for you. You have done this before. You know what to do. So I won't take too much time. If you remember, you will be selecting two different brushes. The first one, you must always choose, brush here, is a flat brush. Enter. With 100% opacity, no pressure turn on. To make sure 100% that this is correct, go to the brush setting up here and make sure nothing is selected. And let's just choose a skin color. I'm gonna go with maybe something other. And let's color Jimbo. Whoopsie doopsie, what have I done? I have colored on the wrong layer. My bad. Make sure in the right layer. If you're scared that you're gonna accidentally draw on layers you're not supposed to, you can lock it so you can't touch it at all until you unlock it. And to do that, you just select the layer and press this button here. So now you can, and that annoying sound unfortunately will come. Alright, color. And just quickly now. Something like that, something like that. Yeah. Okay, like this. Probably a dark color would work as well, but that's fine. And it's up to you if you want to tone it right away, but I would recommend, because you do have a large number of things to work on, just flat color everything first. So let's say he's a blonde guy, so I would start with the dark yellow for the color. Starting darker, as always, guys, is always better, because you want to be able to lighten it up. If you start too light, there is no going lighter except to go white. And white, just unless it's for pupils, I mean not pupils, eyeballs and teeth, it can look very, very unnatural. Okay, so what should I? Maybe dark blue. Maybe he's a lumberjack? Will not be big enough for lumberjack. Now you will need to work with a lot more patience in this. Alright guys, don't follow me on this. You do need to zoom in and make sure that you're coloring the right one. I'm just doing this quickly because I don't want to waste your time. Be quite precise. A lot of game characters, especially for realistic games, they always dress their characters in neutrals unless they're specific characters with specific emotion, if you get what I mean. Sticking with neutrals is a good idea, but again, it's whatever suits your character. And remember that I will be checking your design brief quite closely. So keep in mind that they'll have to match. If you say that under the description that he's wearing army clothes or something and he ends up like an R&B hip-hop boy, well, you probably won't be getting too high of a mark in some of the criteria. And keep in mind, I will also take into account, guys, the level of complexity of your details. So a character wearing a full body armor like Zatara, I will consider the complexity and I will mark you according to that. If you attempt something like that, I won't be marking you probably as harshly as someone who's doing something like this, just a simple jeans and t-shirt. That being said, don't just think that, oh, if I draw an armor then I'll get an HD. No, that's not what I said. Okay. Just want to see that you've put in the effort and you get the concept. So, I won't be drawing the whole thing. I'm going to stop here and I want to refresh you on toning. Ooh. So imagine that this is all flatly colored. I have, again, I'm so sorry that Sitara is not finished, but I've just been so busy this long weekend that it's gonna take me a bit of time because I want to do a good job with her. This is something that I did with her. I did a couple of trials, and you can do this. Just make a copy of your layer if you want to play around with different shades. So what I did was I did this color scheme, and to copy, this is important guys, you just click on the layer that you want to copy and drag it to this icon here, the same icon that you clicked to make a brand new transparent layer. So just drag it and release, and suddenly you have color copy 2. Okay, and what I like to do is after I color, then I go image adjustment, hue, saturation, and I can play around with different sort of color scheme. And you can see the gray stays gray because gray doesn't have a saturation. But if you're making colorful things, this can help you a lot with figuring out what is the best color scheme for my character. So you can maybe have something like that, and that would become your option. Okay, but with Sitara, back again to my point, I have identified areas where I want it to be skin and where I want her to have slightly different tinge. Generally it's pretty flat, pretty boring, it's just a flat color. And this, just imagine this, drawing empty here like that. And I would recommend you actually copying, once you're happy with it, copying anyway, because in case you make a mistake with the toning, with the shading, then you have something to fall back on instead of having to restart. So it's always a good idea to just make copies of layers. So going back to this guy, if you remember how to tone, I'm gonna refresh you, just press brush again, and let's go to soft brush this time. Okay, and opacity turned down to about, we'll play around with it, 28, 38 maybe, and just start. No, that's not strong enough. Of course, color needs to be changed. So I'm gonna go to a lighter color. Do that. And if you see with Sitara, on this particular layer, I did make a color palette just roughly there. It can simply be erased later on or left there. I don't mind. You can submit it like this, but it just helps me to know what colors am I using. So I would highly recommend that. So I'm gonna put that there as my highlight color, and his original skin color there. So eye is the eyedropper, guys. It's a good idea. Okay, so I'm gonna start toning. Choosing this color. Whoa, that is too strong. Maybe I've chosen colors a bit too bright. Decide where your light is going to be. It's nice to go with something from here. It's usually just more natural coming from one angle instead of straight on, but it is up to you. Okay, so it's coming from there, then this area would be bright. The nose would be bright because of course it's protruding. The shadow will be casting here, so maybe just the lower lip that's catching the light. There. You get the idea. I would probably have chosen a mid color. From this to this, it's too much of a difference, so I'm gonna choose colors that are a bit more sensible, maybe there, as a mid-tone. Yep, putting it here. Eyeballs, don't forget, they need to have whiteness. So zoom in. You do want to work very carefully. Go lips. You're doing a male who's not a cross-dresser, then he would probably have very, very slight tinge of pink with lips. Even that probably a bit too much. And blonde hair will go up and following where that light source is, probably lighter there. And strands of hair, you usually have some sort of mix up. And now we can add the darker color for the face. Something like that. And I would put this in here to make sure that we have palette. Go and just start shading. Obviously there would be some light down here and darkness. Cheekbones. Very strong. Okay, you get the idea, guys. It needs to be a bit more neater than that, of course, but I really think that you are getting the point and do not need to keep babbling on about it. It is very handy, just one last thing before I finish this video, for creases these lines. So let's say you're choosing this green color and choosing highlights, say this one. Highlights are crucial to be put where creases are, because when fabrics crease, they end up facing different areas, and this different areas catches rays of light. See how that can bring up quality fabric. Go. And then finally, a third color is good. It's a very bright color. You don't want to use this too much, just right in the middle. So imagine this as a highlight when you make the nose point. See, this is probably a bit too bright of a color to use for a normal character. I just want to make a point. Alright, so that's it from me. Again, you'll see Satara. I'll be putting her up during class, and this is exactly the same technique. I'm just blocking her out with the base color that's quite dark, and then I'll just start to add lighter shading for her.